Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. You are new to Python and MySQL and you want to create a project on the same? Then this video is for you. In this video, we are going to perform CRUD operation using Python and MySQL. Also, at the end of the project, you will be having Tkinter app using which you can create, get or update any student information. So this will be a simple form, and in that we will be entering students information like name, class and phone number, and we'll save the same information in MySQL database. So we will start from scratch. We'll first download MySQL server and then we will move on to Python and we'll integrate and connect a MySQL database with the Python application. Step 1 will be installing MySQL server and creating database using MySQL. Then in second step, we are going to link MySQL and Python. And the third step, we will create a Tkinter app with the created CRUD application, right? So let's get started. We are going to install MySQL server in a Mac OS. So for this, search for install MySQL server and then click on the second link. Here we can see it's devmysql.com/download/mysql. And here it was the installer. If you are using Windows system, then installer is for you. But currently we are installing in Mac, so we'll go with server. Now, based on your system specification and your operating system, you can select anything from here, right? So currently I'm going to install the first one. Now open the downloaded file. So here it is. Now open this. Now, okay, allow. Continue, agree. Install, yes. It's asking the location you want to store the file. So I want it to be default. So let's click on install. Let's enter the password. Yep, it's almost done. So next we need the password here. So finish. It's configuring right now. Great, it's installed here. Cool. So as we can see, installation was completed successfully. Now close it. Now to click on the Apple icon, then go to system settings. Now after opening system settings, just go to the last option. Here we can see our MySQL installed. So click on it. So it seems that MySQL is installed perfectly in our system. Also it's running right now. The server is working right now. Okay. So if you want to make any changes in the configuration, you can click on this configuration and make the desired changes. Now let's move on and set up MySQL in home directory. So for that, open terminal. Now in terminal, type ls-a. So here we can see there is a bash profile. If you don't see it in your system, you simply have to create. So for that, just simply write touch and then .bash profile, okay, and press enter. So I have it right now, so no need to create. Now let's copy the bin path of MySQL so that we can copy it in this bash profile. Now open Spotlight and search for user. So in this we have our MySQL installed. Click on it. Now in user folder, go to local, and from here go to this MySQL, right? Go and then copy this bin path. So right click on it. Now we have copied the path. Now let's go on to terminal. Now let's edit the bash profile in order to add the path. For that, write nano .bash profile, right? At the end of this, simply write export, then path in caps equals. Now paste the path copied here. Now write colon and $path. Close this and enter. Now to save this file, simply press Ctrl+O and then press enter and press Ctrl+X. Now once the changes are done, you have to restart the terminal, or else what you can do, simply write source and then ~.bash profile and press enter. All good. Now let's verify all our changes that we have done. So for that, simply write MySQL -u and username. So our username was root, and then -p. So it will ask for the password. Now enter the password here. Now as we can see, we have entered the MySQL server. Cool. Now let's write show databases. So for that, show and add a semicolon. Now here we can see there are 4 entries, right? Now as we have set up our MySQL server, now let's move on and write Python code. So let's create a directory first. Right, now cd MySQL. Then we need to create Python environment. For that, Python okay, all set. Let's code dot. Cool. Now let's set up our first file named main.py. So let's download all the dependencies. So we need MySQL connector. So it's done. Let's import this and connect to our database. So import MySQL connector. Okay, now we'll define a function to connect through our database, and in this we are going to pass in all the basic configuration of the database that we have. So connect db, and this function is going to return a type connection. So we are going to use try except here. Right, so in this we will write connection MySQL connector dot connect, and in this function we will pass in host. So we have our server running on localhost, so we'll simply write localhost here. Then we'll pass in port. Currently MySQL server is working on 3306 port number. So this is also done. Now we'll define the user here. So we'll be using the default again. So it's root and password. If connection dot is connected, and we'll use this. Now we have successfully built a connection with MySQL server. Now let's see if our database is created or not, and if it is not created, we will create and use that particular database. So for that we will write a query here, and which is equal to okay, create database if not exists. Okay, and we'll pass in the database name here, so it would be student. Right, and we need to execute this as well. So we will initialize the cursor, and cursor dot execute query. Along with this, once the database is created successfully, we have to use that as well. So we will pass in here cursor dot execute again. Now execute again, and here we'll be using the database. So use student. Right, now if everything is successful here, we will be simply returning the connection. Right, but before that, let's print here that we have successfully built a connection with the database. So db connected. Right, now in exception case, here if something is wrong, if the password port or anything goes wrong, this is going to raise the exception. So we have to consider that as well. So let's print f string, and here we'll write error occurred while connecting to DB, and we'll print the error here. Right, this is all set. Now let's write a function to execute the queries, and then we will define the database. So first let's define, so def execute query. So this function is going to take connection first, then we need the query data. Now the queries may or may not have the data, so we will take this as default argument none, and then we'll define it here. So cursor equals connection dot cursor, right? Now if there is data, I will pass in query here and data as well. Otherwise, we'll simply execute the query. Execute, and we'll pass in query here. And finally connection dot commit. Now let's print here query executed successfully. Now there is also a possibility that some error may occur. So for that, let's put this inside a try except. Okay. So we'll simply write here try, and at the end we'll write the except case, except exception as E, and we'll print here as well that there has occurred some error, and this will be a f string, some error occurred, and we'll pass in the error here. Also let's pass the data and query. So with data and query equals query here. So this is all set up for this. Now let's write a query to set up our student table. So for this, write def create table. Okay, so this will take connection. Okay, so let's write our query here. This will be again inside triple quotes. So the query will be create table if not exists. So create if not exists. Okay, and we'll pass in the table name here. Now in parentheses, we are going to pass all its field and field type. So first we are going to have the ID. So ID equals end, and this will also be an auto increment field and primary key as well. So auto increment and primary key. Okay, now along with this we'll have the name will be of type varchar and of length 255. Okay, so let's copy and paste it. After name we'll be taking phone number here, and let's keep only 12 values in phone. Then we have address, and let's keep 255 here. And finally we will be taking class name, and in class name we need only 50 characters. So let's save this. Now to execute this query, we are going to use our function execute query itself, right? And here we don't have the data, so we will not copy that and simply paste it here. Okay, so this is going to do our work. We'll replace connection with con. Okay, and save it. right? So let's write a main function as well so that we can test whether this query is working fine or not. So let's write the main function. Connection equals connect DB. We'll call this function. Now create this table, right? We'll simply call this function to create the table. Okay, so paste it, and in this we'll pass the connection here. Now so here, as we can see, we have successfully created the table and our query is executed perfectly, right? Now let's write a function which is going to create all the entries in our student table. So insert student. So in this, what we are going to take first will be the connection. And then we are going to pass in name, phone number, address, and class as we have defined in our table, right? So let's take them. Right, and let's just correct this. Okay, so now let's define the query which is going to insert the student. So query equals insert into student and then we are going to pass in all these values, right? So in parenthesis, and we'll paste this. Okay, so let's write values which is going to assign it to all these variables. Okay, so for that we just have to write %s, and let's copy this and paste again, right, and save it. So to execute this query, we are going to use our function that we have written here. So let's copy it and let's copy everything from here. Okay, so copied, and then we'll simply call here. So now let's define data as well. So for that, data equals, so I have simply copied this and paste here, right? So now let's see if this works perfectly or not. So let's save this and execute this command in our main function. Paste it, and then we are going to pass in everything. Okay, so let's give name as Ram here. Then phone number, let's give any random value. And then as we are accepting varchars, so let's give it in strings. So in address, let's pass Ayodhya. Then class name, let's pass here Python. And save it. Now let's run this and test. So it says query executed successfully, but we don't have any function to verify. So now let's write a get function or a fetch function which is going to get all the student entry from our database and further print it, right? So for that, we can define another function named def fetch all. And in this, we just need the connection. So for fetch all, the query will be like select star from student, right? Now to execute this, we are going to initialize a cursor to execute this query. So cursor connection dot cursor, right? Now let's execute this. So cursor dot execute, and we'll pass in the query that we have just defined here. Okay, so query, and we are going to return this value. So return cursor dot fetch all. Okay, so cursor has a function named fetch all which is going to return all the entries one by one that satisfies this query. Okay, so we will return this and iterate in order to print it, and we will print it in our main function to iterate and test. Okay, So simply fetch all, and in this we'll pass in the connection, and we'll comment this line, and now let's save and test again. Okay, so we need to print this as well. So let's print it. Right, now we can see we have entries here, right? So these are the entries I have created initially, so that's why it's here. Now the current entry is this, right? Now we have successfully completed create and retrieve operations. Now let's write update and delete functions as well. Okay, so now let's write a function which is going to update our entries. For this we will rewrite this function again. Okay, so let's copy it and let's paste it here. Now in order to update the entries, let's first rename the function. So here will be update, and we have to rewrite this as well. Let's write a query to update the students. So update student, and here we have to set all this. Okay, so we'll pass it here as well. Now let's select comma and space and press Command D. Now we'll be able to write all at once. So this equals %s. So this will assign all this variable one by one. Like this name will be assigned to this name and phone will be assigned to here, and same for all these values. So again equals %s. So now in this way it will update all these entries. Now we have to update it for a specific student. So for that we have to write where clause. So where id equals %s. So we have to pass here student id as well. Right, now let's save this and let's call this inside our main function to verify. So we'll copy this and call this here. Right, and let's keep name as Ramchandra. And phone as, let's give any random string. Address will be same. Then let's now class name, let's keep it as Java, and student ID is 3, right, as we can see here. So let's give 3 and test it. So save this and run the file. So it says some error occurred. Okay, now here in data we have not passed the student ID, so we are getting this error. So let's pass that. So here will be student ID. Okay, and save this. Now let's verify everything. So we'll rerun this. Now here we can say the query is executed successfully, and here the student ID, the name, phone number and class name is also changed. Now we have successfully completed our update operation as well. Now let's write the last, and that is delete functionality. So def delete student, and in this we need the connection along with student ID. For this the query will be delete from student where ID equals %s. Now in data we have to pass in the student ID. Student ID, and as this is a tuple we have to pass comma as well. Okay, so at the end let's call our execute function. Right, now let's verify this function as well. So we'll copy this and comment this one and we'll paste it here. Now let's delete this Witty one. Okay, so we are going to delete the second ID and save this. Now clear the console and then Python main dot. Perfect. So here we can see we just have student ID 1 and 3 and student ID 2 is deleted successfully, right? Now in this video, we have successfully performed all the CRUD operation in MySQL server using Python. So further in this series, we are going to create a Tkinter app which will provide a GUI to all these CRUD operations here. So we will get that in the next video. Till then, stay connected and happy coding. Thanks for watching.